Hey there, and welcome to section 4, the basics of cryptocurrency trading. Now, in this class, we will be going over how to buy low and sell high with risk management. Now, in order for us to do that, let's go ahead and go to a chart. Now, what we're going to do in this chart, we're going to go ahead and create support and resistance lines, as well as create trend lines, and even have a look at the volume to see where would be good points of entry and good points of exit, as well as go over the risk management and how we can make sure we're not losing more than we want. So let's go ahead and start off by putting support and resistance. So let's go to the 1 month. And as you can see up here, we have the highest price ever reached at 17,983 Satoshis. So we're going to go ahead and add in a resistance line right there. Now, let's go ahead and zoom in a little further here. We can't really see the bottom, so we're just going to go ahead and leave that for the next time frame below the 1 month. There we go. Okay, it seems like, yeah, it's way down here. So what we can do is actually go ahead and just create a 1 week, which seems to be some sort of resistance right in this general zone. So we're going to go ahead and create a rectangle. We're going to elongate this rectangle from right about here to right about there. That seems to be a zone that was previously resistance, 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 poked right through, and then became support. So let's go ahead and also remember to color coordinate. So for my weekly, it will change color. There we go. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and go into the 1 day. There we go. Okay, now if we look right here, we can kind of see that this zone is actually going to be our resistance and now to be support zone. So let's go ahead and draw another rectangle right in this area. Now, as you see, this zone right in the middle kind of just played right in this area. So that just goes to confirm that this is definitely a zone where we have previous resistance and the price went up and down in this resistance and support zone, then to just become support. Now let's also color coordinate this. There we go. Perfect. Now let's go down to the 4 hour. Actually, you know what? I did see something back on the 1 day, so let's reverse really quickly. I do see a slight uptrend in here, so let's go ahead and create a trend line on the 1 day. Seems to be something right around there to be reached right around here. Let's see. Just fixing and adjusting here. I hope all of you can see this trend line right here, and this is gonna be blue. There we go. Now, if we were to go ahead and try to create a parallel channel, I'm not quite sure we're gonna find one, but let's see what we have. Let's see if this upward trend has any regard for this, and it actually does seem to do so. It's going to be maybe right in here. As you can see, it comes, touches the zone, falls right back down, respects the lower support, follows right along, makes a move upward, stays in this zone, then to just go ahead and shoot straight up. We have a fallback, which becomes support and falls right through. Then we have a move that tries to come back, creates that resistance, falls all the way through, and again to create resistance. So this actually does play a part. So we'll go ahead and leave that channel in there. Let's go to the 4 hour. All right, and sometimes we do have to zoom out to get a better picture of what's happening. Okay, and we see right in here, we do have what was previous support and now has become resistance. So we're going to go and add a line in here. as our support, or I should say resistance, and then support. And that is orange for my 4 hour. And let's continue to the 1 hour. And let's see if we can zoom out and see anything else in here. Okay. Well, right around here, we have this creating what was previously kind of prices are going a little out of whack and crazy. So what we're going to do is go ahead and just start from this point on. And that's right in there. And this is my 1 hour, so change the color. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and just zoom right out again. We're going to see what we have going on. So if we look at this, we see that we are in an upward trend. We just found some type of support right along here. This is 88,197 Satoshis. And as you see, at this point, it seems to be running into the bottom support. So at some point here, if we do have enough buying pressure, enough buy volume, we will see this more than likely move up. Now we do have a very temporary resistance and support, but if enough buy pressure there, then definitely we are going to see higher move all the way up to possibly 11 to 12,000 Satoshis. Now, as we said before, really the larger the time frame, the more you're going to realize that price will not always respect that, but definitely does take that into higher regard than the lower time frame. So, we may see this price shoot right past it and shoot right past the 4 hour as well, and then have regard for the higher resistance and then follow back through. It really just depends on buying volume and really that factor in itself. So let's go ahead and actually look at volume while we're in here. So to clear things up, I'm going to remove the charting. There we go. And let's have a look at volume. So if we zoom in, okay, you see it kind of dying off here, equaling out. We have an equal amount of green bars and red bars, but overall ball volume is dying, so not too much selling or buying at this point. And then we do see slight increase in here, but seems to be stabling out. So let's go ahead and bring back our support and resistance. Okay. So if we were to look at this chart and you were to say, okay, I'm going to buy at a specific area or at a point, I would say right in here is a very good point where to buy. Why? Because this is resting on a support, which was previously resistance. Now, with that, we have, of course, anything, we have the chance of it falling through. But because this is a one-day channel, it more than likely will have respect for this area, and like I said, can increase as long as we do have that volume in there. Now, one other way I do like to check volume is actually through the website of your exchange. So let me go ahead and go into Poloniex. And what I like to do to really give me the edge when making a trade, I like to go in and look at the actual exact numbers. So basically how much buy volume is there versus sell volume. So in this case, let me scroll down here. Okay, great. So went over to Poloniex and we pulled up Bella coin, which is the coin we're currently charting. And if we go down here below, we are going to see that there's a total of 100 and let's say 47 Bitcoin that are under the buy orders. And we go over to the sell orders and we see that they're in Bella. So to transfer those into Bitcoin to get a better ratio of what is on the buy side versus the sell side, I'm going to go ahead and use the last price and just enter the sell orders in here. And that's going to basically give me a percentage that we're going to go into a little further. So total of 554 Bitcoin under the sell orders, and there's a total of 147 under buy orders. Now, if we go ahead and pull out our handy dandy calculator, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what percentage is the 147 of the 554. This is something that I noticed for me. I has worked pretty well when I included with the overall volume, my support and resistance zones. And also we're going to be going over a few other indicators such as moving averages, Fibonacci, and chart patterns. So it's going to be a total package, if you say. Once we get all these together, you're going to see how well it's going to work out. So we're going to go ahead and do 147 divided by 554. That gives me roughly about 27% total Bitcoin that are in the buy orders versus the sell orders. So in this case, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a go or buy-in just because there's not that many buy orders compared to sell orders. Volume also is not a total of 237 Bitcoin being traded. So not a very high volume coin right now. So this would be a point in the chart where if you want to accumulate, I would say to go ahead and pick some up. But let's get into the risk management. Now, if you go over here on your left-hand side, you're going to see this, basically this box with 3 lines in it with 2 arrows. This is a long position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this here, and we're going to pretend that we didn't go ahead and we made a purchase. We purchased Bella Coin right here, let's say at the 85.65. Click right on there. Great. And so, as I said before, because we are purchasing in an area that shows support currently and previously, we're going to go ahead and that's why we purchased there. Now, we also want to make sure that we are putting in stop losses. Now, as we apply a stop loss, this basically means we are going to enter an area, which is right here. We said we entered, I believe we said about 8,600. And the stop loss point is basically the area where we decide we are not going to take any more losses and we are going to put in an order to sell beyond this point. So if we look here, we are going to see that this stops at the 81.22 point, or say 81.22 mark. So we don't want to sell any lower than this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. And I wanted to my risk, which is, this is what they consider risk management. I don't want it to go beyond 5%. So we're just going to leave it there. So that means that 81.22 is going to be the point where I want to sell because I don't want to risk losing any more. So 81.22. Now this area is the point, the stop point is the area where it's going to trigger the sell, and the limit area is where it's going to actually sell at. So in this fact, we are going to put that I have 4,300 Bella coin, and if this price begins to fall through at the 81.30, which is right above it, it will trigger a sell for 81.22 if price does fall all the way through to that 81.22. Now, if it hits the 81.30 and then bounces right back up, well, it will put in the order to sell, but will not sell unless price hits the 81.22. I hope that makes sense. So if we look and we set up our target to be the top of the channel, we are seeing a possible gain of 60% or a risk reward ratio of basically 1 to almost 12. So I think that in itself is a pretty good risk. Now, some people do like to put their stops a little lower, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies, since it is a very volatile market. Sometimes you can have a move of, let's zoom in, you can have a move of it falling through right before it actually explodes even further. That's very common, but still something that in the meantime, while you're learning, you want to make sure to keep your stop losses pretty tight. I think 5%, 7% is even somewhat riskier. And really this just helps you, just in case you're trading overnight, what night you put in your stop loss and the next morning you are unsure, about what's going to happen with the price, and you definitely want to put in a stop limit. So if we zoom out, That is being placed right there. That's our target. And let's see what kind of action it's going to give us. Let's go ahead and move on to the next example.